Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to part 5 in this video tutorial series I'm running for seniors and also for new users to smartphone photography. Now in this video I'm going to be taking some tabletop photography shots. So we're going to be using a very simple lighting setup. I'm just using window light that's coming in from the bedroom, and in fact I'm actually shooting this in one of the spare bedrooms. Just to show you don't need a studio environment to be able to create great shots using your iPhone for this type of photography. So you can see the setup here in the room. It's just a very basic setup. I've got a box here which I can stand my little model on, a bit of a background there to add some interest to the background, and the camera is going to be facing that. I'll be using a combination of the ×1 lens, and I also like to use the ×5 lens of the iPhone 16 Pro that we're going to be shooting this with too. But you can use the 3x lens of an iPhone 15 or below, so it doesn't really matter, but I use the telephoto lens to create that little depth between the subject and the background. So let's have a look at the setup, and then I'll show you how I'm going to set up to take this shot of the duck against the background. And so you can see the basic setup I've got here in the spare bedroom. I've got this little duck figure mounted on a cardboard box just to raise him up slightly and give me a stable surface. I've also got a background, which is just a piece of I've also got a background there which is just a old table mat with a leaf pattern, and then you can see in the foreground here I've got the iPhone 16 Pro which I'm going to be using to take the picture. So the light is coming in from the window, so it's strong on the right hand side of the image and then casting shadow to the left hand side. To soften down those shadows, I've got a piece of whiteboard here which I'll use to redirect light from the window onto the shadow side of the duck like so, and you will see that we get a much brighter effect on the shadow side. So let me set up the iPhone 16 so we can have a look at the output from the video and you'll be able to see this on screen. And so you can see the output from the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and we're running the beta version of iOS 26. The public version will be out later in August or beginning of September. This is a public beta of that new operating system, iOS 26, and the basic camera app has had some quite significant changes to it, and for the better. So you can see on screen we're actually using the ×5 lens. You can see it on the right hand side highlighted in yellow. The way you can switch from that is by just touching the icons at the side. So from the normal lens, you can see I've got the setup here, to ×5 brings us into that nice perspective for this particular shot. On the left hand side you can see the format for this picture is going to be a JPEG, and it's going to be 48 megapixels, so that's what I've selected for this particular shot. If you touch the right hand side of the screen now, you can see we get the enhanced features of timer, the aspect ratio, live photo, the stars which are new to iOS 18, we've got the flash, and we've got exposure compensation. So we're going to shoot this in the basic 4:3 aspect ratio. You've got the other aspects there. You got 16:9 which will be widescreen, 1:1 which is your square format, and our 4:3 which I'm going to shoot this particular shot in. We've got the timer, and again you've got 3 seconds, 5 seconds or 10 seconds. I'm just going to set for 3 seconds. We'll just take the basic shot first of all. I'm just going to try and level that background up so it's more level, it's slightly slanted. So we'll take the first shot without any fill light coming from a reflector, so we're getting all the window light coming in from the right hand side and illuminating the duck there on the right, casting a little shadow on its left hand side. So let me just take that shot and we can have a look at it in the video. So that is the first shot. If I thought it was a little bit dark, you've got exposure compensation as before. You can touch the screen and put exposure lock. You just hold that square. You get the focus and exposure lock. But then if you touch the little sun icon at the side of that, you can change the brightness setting till you think you've got the right exposure. I'm just going to brighten that slightly and we'll take the second shot. Now I'm going to introduce a white fill card on the left hand side. So if I just try and step forward without disturbing the camera, I'm going to bring in this white card and I'm going to place it to the left hand side of the duck, and you can see the effect that that has. It brightens those shadows. The closer you get, obviously the brighter that effect will be, or you can back it away until you get the right tonality for the shadows that you want. So I'm going to settle for that and we'll take the next shot. Again, for this next shot, I've changed the subject to this little model. She's about 100 millimeters, 10 centimeters high, and you've got a background which is about 24 inches or 60 centimeters behind the model. You can see it's quite strongly cross-lit from the light coming from the window, casting a shadow down the right hand side of her face. So what I'm going to do is again introduce that white card so we can brighten up the shadows on that side. So if I just bring the card in, you can see the effect. Just going to take that slightly out, so we'll take that shot now with that card highlighting the shadow area. Now in editing we can actually blur that background. So I've selected the portrait mode and again touch the screen to set the focus point, and with the aperture you can see it's set over on the left hand side to f1.4. If I touch that, I can actually change the aperture to increase the depth of field. So from f4 I'm going to go something like f8 to include more of the doll in focus, and the background is still out of focus. So again, let's take that shot at f8 and I'll introduce a bit of side light. And we'll take the shot again. And I will increase the aperture to f11. Again, we'll take a shot. To see how they look in the video. So here you can see the final shot setup. I've got these three little bears set up on that cardboard box. This time the background is black card to highlight the bears. So let's just switch over to the iPhone 16 Pro. Let's align the shot. Like so. We can just change the magnification to sort of 6 or something like that, just to improve the cropping. And again, being that 12 megapixel sensor, we've got plenty of pixels to play with there. So let me just align that. Again, to touch focus, touch the bear there. So we've got the bear, and if I press and hold, you notice we get AF and AE lock again. Then if I touch the sun, I can actually reduce the brightness so that background is darker and comes into play to highlight the characters better. I'm now going to add the fill light. So again, using my white card, I'm going to offset the strong light from the window with a little white bounce light from the left hand side, so you can see the effect. There's the shadow and there's the white coming into play. So we'll take the shot without the white card first of all. And now with the white card. And there we have it. So there we are, that's how to do some very simple tabletop photography using simple window light, and to compensate for the shadows using a white card to bounce light back into the shadows to reduce the overall contrast. Hope you found that useful, and of course if you're a new viewer and you're not already subscribed to the channel, why not hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification icon so you're advised when I upload new videos in this series. So until the next one, thanks very much for watching. Please take care, and don't forget, if you've not seen my photographic blog, please do check it out. I'll put a link to that in this video description below.